So what is the difference between IAS and IFRS? So this is a question that a student asked me, and I want to explain. IAS and IFRS are global accounting standards. Now, IAS means international accounting standards. Good. And then IFRS stands for International Financial Reporting Standards. We'll say International Accounting Standard and we'll say International Financial Reporting Standard. As I said, both of them are global accounting standards and they form the framework for the preparation of financial statements. They govern the preparation of financial statements. Now, how do they differ? I'm going to explain how they differ using what I call IASAU. Now, this is what I want to use to explain the difference between IAS and IFRS. Now, the I, I'm talking of issue. Now, IAS act by the International Accounting Standards Committee. That is the IASC. Good. Now, IFRS are issued by the International Accounting Standards Board. That is the IASB. So this is the first in understanding the difference between IAS and IFRS. Who issues IAS? IAS were issued by International Accounting Standard Committee, IASC, whereas the IFRS are issued by the International Accounting Standard Board, IASB. So that is the first difference I want us to note. Good. Now, after issue, the next is the timing. I want to talk about number 2, timing. Now, talking about timing, when were they issued? IAS were issued from 1973 to 2001. Whereas IFRS were issued from 2001 to present. Or you say ongoing. So this is another major difference between IAS and IFRS. IFRS, the timing, IAS issued from 1973 to 2001, and from then they are now issued by from then we now have IFRS issued from 2001 to present. After that, I want us to look at number 3, the number 3 difference. The number 3, I will call it the approach. Approach. Now, what is the approach for IAS? The approach. IAS and IFRS. IAS are more prescriptive, whereas IFRS are principle-based. But IAS, especially the older IAS, they are more prescriptive, whereas IFRS are actually principle-based. They are principle-based. So that is another one. So number 4, another one I want to talk about scope. scope, and structure. So for scope and structure, I will say that the IFRS is more comprehensive, more modern. They cover modern business transactions, whereas IAS technically does not. So that is the structure. Now, if we go ahead, I can remove this. I can say number four, I can talk about we've talked about the issuing, we talked about the timing, we talked about the approach, we talked about structure, scope and structure, and now we want to talk about adoption. Good. Now, IFRS adopted IAS. So you can see all the IASs, all the International Accounting Standards issued up to 2001, from when we began to have the IFRSs. Every IAS that existed, if it has not been superseded, if it is still in practice, if it is still in effect, then it is part of the IFRS. But from 2001, we no longer call them International Accounting Standards. We now call them IFRS, International Financial Reporting Standard. So any international accounting standard that is still existing is also part of IFRS. So basically, IFRS adopted the remaining IAS. Next, we want to talk about update. That is number 5 difference. Now, this update, every IFRS, every standard that is issued from 2001 is now known as IFRS. And it supersedes from time to time. It is now updated. When it is updated by the IFRS, and it's called an IFRS. For example, we have IFRS 9 superseding IAS 39. We also have IFRS 18 with effect from 2027, 1st January 2027. There will be no longer IAS 1. IAS 1, we're going to say bye-bye to IAS 1, and then we're going to have IFRS 18. Though early adoption is allowed, and if you've not watched my video on the date of IAS 1 and the date of IFRS 18 with effect from 1st January 2027, I urge you to go and do so. In fact, early adoption is allowed. So if you enjoy this, I want you to like, I want you to share, and I want you to subscribe to the Accounting and Finance Coach. Thank you.